is on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there any questions on this? Like, basically you just have your potential income, your setup training, your which we have $600 for, our efficient work, which we have $1,325 for, and then our monthly total is $1,925. I don't know. Maybe we should just kind of cut one of these. Which one is the least? Program documenting and reporting. I mean, we're obviously not doing any of that. Let's cut this down to 50. All right. So then this gets to 1900. All right. So we have 600, 1300, 1900.
Get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale deeper. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
So, we increased it by $100 overall, but the idea is to at least get started with the idea that there is the setup and the training, and then there is the actual efficient work that we're trying to do. So are there any questions on the actual potential income?
No.
All right, so over here we have the annual totals. And then there's also the deliverables bonuses and the token bonuses, right? So deliverables and output is super duper important. This is where we really want to be paying money, right? So there's the $1,900 for the potential income is based on not getting any work done. Does everyone understand that? That we basically get $1,900 without even getting any work, regardless of whether we get any work completed. Everyone's guaranteed getting paid a certain amount of money. Right? When we make a contract with a new client, it's all based on the contract, whether we get paid without doing the deliverable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in this case, we get paid $1,900. So then you can have deliverables bonuses, which is basically like we call it a bonus, but in a lot of contracts with clients, it's like this is how you normally get paid, where you actually complete the work. Otherwise, you don't get paid. Right? So we call it a deliverable bonus, but in a lot of contracts, and a lot of groups, it's like you just don't get paid unless you actually do the work. So we might need to update the name of this. Instead of a deliverables bonus, maybe it's just like actually doing the work, right? So there's a couple of these that I couldn't think of what the output or deliverable was in relationship to like executive support, money support, staffing. Maybe money support does have like the monthly accounting, so we could put the monthly accounting for that. We could start money support, but I'm not sure about executive support, and I'm not sure about programs, communications, and relations. I don't know about that either. Let's figure that out. And then other bonuses that don't have potential, base income. So let's change, instead of potential income, this would be base potential income. No output, right? Required. So then other bonuses that is basically, output based would be like finishing all the websites, sales and clients, and there's just a lot of other details and things that we could give out bonuses for that don't necessarily have
Time to
the
pause.
full
Please stop. Close
base.
your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Okay, so we could have a lot more potential income in relationship to normal contracts for completing work. So I feel like the deliverables bonuses is the incorrect term. I think the correct term is just like getting work done,
Getting work done.
So we should probably update our vocabulary on that, Don't you think it would be, especially when we're working with clients?
Yeah.
Like, so instead of calling it a bonus, it's like, okay, this is just like the normal way that people usually do work. Is like you either do the work, you complete it, or you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Whereas our model, we pay people even if they don't complete the work.
Usually, in any client supplier relationship, you may get an upfront, but you usually get paid by milestones, and usually the biggest chunk is at the end when you deliver.
Yeah. So we could change that, change our terminology so it's based on actual work instead of the idea of a bonus. Like it's not a bonus if there, there should be a separate bonus on top of the deliverable, right? In the output.
I agree.
So you get paid to do the work, and then there's an additional bonus if the work is done well, kind of thing,
Yeah, the token bonus, that could be the
No, I mean, I think there should be upfront bonuses for doing work well, but the idea is that there needs to be a separate category for this, like normal delivers and output, which is how normal businesses operate. And then you could have a bonus on top of that for certain situations. And then that would also include the token bonus. You can have token bonuses and you can have upfront bonuses, right? But the general idea is that we should update our vocabulary where there's actually just normal deliverable and output income. Does that make sense?
totally.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't
So,
even
like,
call it bonuses, deliver bonuses, because it's
Should be
deliverables and output.
mhm.
Time to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move
Income.
around for 30 seconds.
Stretch. Like the way that I see it is that there is a output and deliverable. I mean, not bonus. Like how can you call it? Like balance payment for the work or something like that, right?
well, I just said primary work outputs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I don't know.
Yeah, but what are these? Are like bonuses, primary work outputs,
Primary work output would be
payments.
the payment for completing the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the upfront bonus and the token bonuses is for excellent work, doing excellent work.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Anyway, so hopefully this helps make a little bit more sense in terms of expectations. And we can keep working on that. I mean, it's definitely a never-ending process of updating. But what's good about this is then we can start going into all the work that we can do primary work output payments for. So if the work gets completed, we can pay, but we can't pay if there's no work done, right? That is a whole nother category of work outputs that there's a lot of money there that can be had.
Mm-hmm.
If we actually do work, we can get paid a lot more money than what we usually do, which is not getting work done, right? Good. All right. So let's go on to the next part, which is the budget, right?
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So Jay, these numbers we can update the potential income with these numbers, right?
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I would say the overall monthly potential income would be almost doubled in relationship to getting paid like the base pay. If we actually complete work, we should be able to double that, you know? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right, so let's go into the budget. All right, that sound good?
Yes.
So I'm gonna just come down. I think we should start from the beginning. So I'm gonna come down to line 65, and I just don't really want to go over. Let's go down even further. I don't want to go into. I'm gonna go down to line 75. So this is budget responsibility number question mark, right? So I want to skip all this stuff for income system, and this income system stuff we're gonna make part of executive training. So add to executive. It's not part of like the normal work stuff. All right. So then down to line 75, we need the link to the budget responsibility number.
So the
We
income
have
is number 2.
responsibility number 2.
Yeah.
Mhm. Vacation.
So let's start with the goal, right? The goal is obviously not correct. What's wrong with the goal?
Goal is to calculate the total overall income from client work for the team, not just the HR budget. All income, all revenue, and make sure it fits within the client budget.
The goal.
So what is the name of this responsibility?
Income estimations and calculations.
Yeah, so what is the goal?
The goal is to estimate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Time for
exactly.
breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
So where do we calculate the total overall income from client work? Where do we calculate that?
Um,
That would be part of the payroll.
Payroll, yeah.
Okay, so payroll is where you actually do the calculations. This is just the quicker estimate. And in payroll, you actually calculate it exactly.
Okay.
All right. So the only other thing I would change in relationship to this goal is I would just say that the overall goal is to estimate the total overall income from client work and billable internal operations for the team. And I would get rid of all this other stuff. You know? So basically, we want to know the team income, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And another way we could say that is just like, just say to estimate overall team income,
Right.
so that our budget is within um, goals of getting paid, because you can't get paid without money, right? Without getting income.
Yeah.
And whether we need additional. If we don't have enough money to cover our budget, then we have to take out loans. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So I'm not sure why all these steps are not single line. I'm not sure why it's just like step 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, but I'm gonna skip that for now. And then there's nothing here. So basically there's not much responsibility organizing here, is that right?
I mean, we see where is the order responsibility? Where is it not here?
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
All right, so let's start with the setup, okay? So step 0, setup. What needs to be done for the setup to be successful with this particular responsibility?
All right, so let me just link the order
Uh,
responsibility organizer.
Can anyone think of a single thing that could be done with the setup?
we get the client deliverables list,
What is that? What is the deliverables list?
like the taxes, the bills. We list where our income is coming from.
Okay, so what do we call that? We just went over it.
Client deliverables list.
No, it's the
Potential income.
yes, the potential income. Okay, so we have list of potential. This would be part of UMCUS, right? So UMCUS potential income budget. It's technically a budget. Okay.
Mhm.
Are there any questions about that one?
I mean, we get the updated AMCA's potential income budget. And
Well, this is just a required component to set up
The
the estimating our income, right? We need obviously the potential income budget from UMCUS.
mm-mm.
Okay, does everyone understand that?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
we need the tracking hour spreadsheets.
Mm,
Then
okay. So actually I'm gonna say let's get a little bit more broad on that one. Because that's just like very specific. But there's two components to that, right? Because the reason why I have a concern with that is because tracking our spreadsheets
Time
does
to
not
take a
track
break. Please stop.
client work.
Write down whatever you were about to say
It tracks
and
all
take
work.
a break for 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's the main problem that we have. I mean, the value tracking spreadsheets are very incorrect, right? Because especially now that we are with the new vortex model with trajectories, I mean, we know that a client session can start with there's a client session, and then maybe we do 30 minutes of client session. I think we should track either the topics instead of like.
But let's take a step back. What is the point of tracking your hours on your work hours tracking spreadsheet? What is the point of doing that?
um to invoice the client.
No, absolutely not. You're not tracking your hours to invoice the client. That is obviously not what you're doing.
To track the
Why are
value,
you tracking your hours?
to track the value, we need to mint the tokens.
For what purpose? Why do you track your hours on your work hours tracking spreadsheet? What is the purpose of tracking your hours as an
For
individual?
the payroll,
Documentation.
Yeah, for who? For who?
for the organization, for us.
Yes, for yourself. right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
You track your hours so that you get paid.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what we really need is we need a client work hours tracking spreadsheet. Does that make sense? Like if we
Yeah.
want to get paid as a team, we need to track all our hours collectively for all of our client work, you know, which should actually be pretty simple. Like if you come up here to line 10 through 20, right, and you come over here to column O,
Column.
you could have each person and you could just like say, okay, for each client, Jay did 1 hour for this one, Jay did 5 hours for this, right? It's like, okay, Alberto worked for, 10 hours on taxes. He worked 3 hours on this, so it's like you could easily track your client work to bill the client, which is totally separate than tracking your own hours to pay yourself. It's really a completely separate process. Do you guys get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we might want to have some sort of client work hours tracking spreadsheet, which we used to have. We used to do all of that. Another thing that we want to have is clear policies regarding tracking client work and internal operations. Okay. So one component of these policies is the Discord channels. One of the places we are trying to do is we have external client invoicing. It's been a long time since we've been doing that, but Albina used to do it. So it's 2021, the last time I see anything here. We have internal client billing, internal operations, billable hours, and team-based payment. Okay, so we made these channels to oversee the external client invoicing, internal client billing, and internal operations billing, okay? And then team-based payments, like individual team-based payments. So we have that model all set up. We just don't particularly use it. Okay?
Yes.
And it doesn't need to be complicated. It's just like, okay, how many hours do we spend actually doing client work, right? And then we just track that not for ourselves, but for the team to get paid. And that goes into the invoice that we then send to the client so that we get paid. If we don't send them an invoice, we shouldn't expect to get paid. All right. Anything else you can think of for the setup?
I mean, that's actually I mean, that's actually really good. I mean, we should be tracking on Discord like we do with the policy tracking everything, not only the client hours, but all the hours, right? Like I finish a 3-hour sessions, then I go into Discord and I go into the client, external client channel. I say 0.5 hours on this client work, 1 hour on this tactical ops, and then 1.5 hours on value. So we could have for each umbrella trajectory, we could have a channel where everybody per policy is required to track their hours, kind of real time.
I mean, no one's required to do anything on this, but it's just like the idea is that let's just start with the external client work and make sure that at least that is getting tracked.
Yeah.
And it should be transparent. You have to
Time to
know.
start. Please get focused on the session.
So anyway, so we can go through the policies on how we want to do that, but let's not go through that now. But there's definitely a lot of options for how we set that up. So is there anything else that we need in order to complete this particular responsibility?
We need
No, I think this is good enough.
I think the only other thing is basically the internal operation budget pools, right?
Yeah.
Say estimated internal operation budget pools. I mean, that should already be done, so that would be helpful to have.
operation budget.
All right. So, oh, and then also you do also need the percentage breakdown X multiplier thing, right?
Yes.
That is actually essential for the process. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything. It says get the link to the current budget spreadsheet. You actually need the link to the current budget spreadsheet for this. I would say the only other thing would be, uh, link to budget and UMCUS information. So the only reason you need the budget is to understand the UMCUS calculation for the loan.
Yeah, that's where you do the calculation, right? I mean, you include the calculation, the output of the work in the
Yeah,
tab.
but you don't necessarily need the link to the budget, right? Does that make sense? The link to the budget is irrelevant
Yeah,
for this
to accomplish the goal. Yeah, yeah.
The only reason you even need the link to the budget is to know what the total budget is, so that you can relate that to the UMCUS calculation, so then you can answer one. That's the only reason you would need the budget. So really, you just need to know the total budget. Know total budget, right? UMCUS loan calculation. Right. So I think that's the setup as far as I can think of.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you want to go through some of the setup now, or do you want to go through the rest of the steps?
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
It might be helpful to quickly go through all the steps and then get into the setup. You guys want to do you want to quickly go through the steps first? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, steps.
Okay.
I need a 2-minute break. 2-3 minutes.
Okay, let's take a break for like 3 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.